Do you see a mouse? Well, then don't build a house. Do you see a frog? Don't cut that log. That's a good rule of thumb for Dalton McGuinty's new 1,200-page handbook to what you can and can't do with your land. To tell us more about this ridiculous expropriation of property rights, we're joined now by Randy Hillier, an opposition MPP with the Progressive Conservative Party. Hey, Randy, thanks for joining us today.
It's always great to be on Sun with you, Ezra.
Thanks. You've a long time been a property rights advocate for Ontario landowners. You have gone through this literally 1,200-page rule book that says if there's a little tadpole, if there is a goose, if there is some cliff and rocks, your land is no longer your land. It's your land subject to the whim of bureaucrats. Give me some examples and tell me what this is all about.
Ezra, in 1,200 pages, and this is just the latest 1,200 pages. This is in addition to the Endangered Species Act, the Federal Species at Risk Act, the Environmental Protection Act. So this is just the latest one, and it's 1,200 pages called the Technical Guide to Significant Wildlife Habitat. And it's just an absolutely incredible document. It covers everything and anything in the province. For example, if there's more than 25 seagulls in an area, they require special protection, including a 150-meter protection buffer zone. If you have more than 3 frogs, bullfrogs or even leopard frogs, they require additional protection as well. Let's not forget they also need wildlife corridors to go to their next most pleasant puddle. If you have a farm field and a couple of mallards drop in to be in the puddle, that's a protected zone.
Yeah, we've got some examples on the screen right now. So if you've got a farm field that floods in the spring and 100 geese just stop by, boom.
Yeah.
Or, any hawk's nest. I mean, where I live, I see hawks every day.
That's right.
Now, pretty much, I can't imagine a farm in Ontario that does not trip one of these tripwires, that does not pull one of these triggers. I mean,
I would go a little farther. I would say there's not a piece of property in Ontario.
Yeah, deer's a corridor where deer are so plentiful in some places. They are like mice. Now, so let's say one of these triggers is pulled. I mean, between the deer and the geese and the cliffs and the hawks, something's going to happen. What does that mean for Joe, average landowner? What does this special corridor or special buffer mean?
Well, it's going to be all dependent on whoever comes out from the MNR or whatever conservation authority or any one of the other hundreds of agency boards and commissions in this province, and they'll determine how many and what level of environmental assessments will be required in order to build a shed or sever a building lot or put up a store, whatever it is that you might want to do. They'll determine, first off, how many environmental assessments that you'll have to do, the depth of those assessments, and then whether or not you're going to even qualify for doing what it is that you might want
now,
to
I got a question. This sounds like it was written by a bunch of egghead city slickers in a Starbucks getting together, not consulting any real-life people who live in rural parts. But am I correct to understand that this applies to the city as well?
Oh, absolutely. This applies everywhere.
Well, here in Toronto, I mean,
like I said,
there's puddles all the time.
25 seagulls are protected now. So every landfill site for absolutely, and every parking lot just about in the province is going to be covered by this.
Now, what is the legal format of this? Were these technical regulations? How did these get passed? There wasn't a vote in the Ontario legislature about this. This was just promulgated by the Premier, just announced it one day?
I think what it shows is that there's no shortage of loons down at Queen's Park and in the bureaucracy.
Well, there's certainly not an endangered species down there, let's put it that way.
But, you get a whole army of academics and bureaucrats down at the MNR who have nothing more productive to do in their life.
What's MNR? That's Ministry of Natural
Resources.
Yeah.
And they come up with these technical guides. They put it up on what's called the Environmental Bill of Rights Registry.
So who's the enforcer? Can anyone, do they have a special band of, pigeon police or something? Or can anyone come on your land, at all and say, well, you see here this rule, I'm going to enforce it now?
Basically what's going to happen, and what does happen, Ezra, is nobody knows that these things are these designations are being applied on their land until they go to do something. if they go to build a subdivision or go to sever a lot or go to build a barn, that's when they find out, because these new technical guides become part of the planning process, the provincial planning process in Ontario, and the local planner, the local building inspector, the conservation authority, whoever it might be, will come on to your property to take a look at what you're proposing to build. And if they see 3 frogs or 25 seagulls or 2 sparrows, whatever it may be, and everything is covered here.
Randy, there's only one way to stop this. Someone's got to find out where Dalton McGuinty's summer cottage is, go there and film turtles or frogs or seagulls or a mouse and say, Premier, you can't enjoy your cabin anymore. That's the only way this law is going to be repealed. Randy, we're out of time, but you keep fighting for property rights.
Ontario is going to kill our economy in all of Ontario.
Yeah, what's left of it. Well, thank you, my friend, and you keep fighting for freedom and property rights.
Absolutely.
Folks, coming up.